This is Q4 Catch-Up 2025, a co-production between Cinematic Doctrine and Movies and Us. I was about to autopilot into my introduction, which is, hey, if you just press play, blah, 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 yada, yada, but that's not what kind of episode we were doing. We are actually doing a Q4 2025. Yes, it's 2026 already, but we're going to reflect on the last 3 months of 2025. So Q4 catch-up. This is a cross-produced episode with Cinematic Doctrine, myself, Melvin Benson, and then Movies and Us, which is Jen and Sarah, the lovely Jen and Sarah, who are just like, man, they're just so good. If you're listening on the Cinematic Doctrine feed, you really got to be listening to their show. And then if you're listening on Movies and Us, come listen to my show. We're on a break right now, but like we'll be back in February. It's gonna be great. But before we kick things off, what's going on, guys? What's up, Jen? What's up, Sarah?
Not much. Sipping my warm latte and getting to yap with you both. It's a good time, you know? It's a good day.
Yeah, excited to be here to talk about some really good stuff that we were able to watch in Q4. So this should be a fun convo.
Yeah, so for the listener, the format we typically do and kind of settled into with our quarterly catch-ups is we're going to kick things off with what have we been just watching? What have we with about 3-ish movies each, whether a modern flick or an older one that we're catching up on. And then at the end, we're just going to talk about whatever's going on because, you know, we're people. We're not just disembodied voices producing content for you, the dreaded C word. But also, it's just nice to catch up. So, hey, why don't we go with Sarah? Why don't you kick things off? What have you been watching?
Yeah, so the first thing that I would like to bring to the table is actually not a movie, but the second season of A Man on the Inside. And this is a Netflix show. It is so earnest. It is so lighthearted and fun. Ted Danson is great in the lead role as this like retiree who then wants to become like a private investigator basically and finds himself in all of these kind of zany situations. But what I really love, especially in season 2, is it's just this reminder that like none of us really know what we're doing. Like no matter how old you are, you're just like trying your best in whatever situation you're in, and nobody really has things figured out. And it also shows the different ways to like handle conflict in a really healthy and honoring way, which I really appreciate. So it's a pretty like funny, lighthearted show, but then there's a lot of like depth and meat there as well. So I had a great time with A Man on the Inside. So if you're looking for something lighthearted and fun, consider checking it out.
Have you seen On Golden Pond? It's like 30, 40 years old at this point.
I think like a long time ago.
Yeah. So one of the things I liked about that movie is exactly what you described about the show, where it's like it's an older person kind of still learning who they are, even at their age, which I'm sure for some people is scary, but it's also like kind of liberating to think like, oh, like you still have time to go through it. I guess is it like a dramedy? There's some drama and comedy mixed in.
It's mostly comedy, I would say. There is that like heart at it though, and there are some dramatic moments, but I would say it's mostly a comedy, little drama.
Is there going to be did they renew it or did they Netflix it? Were they like, nah, we're done?
You know what? That's a good question. I hope that they renew it because both of these seasons have been quite good. So it would be a mistake not to renew it, but that doesn't mean anything for Netflix because they cancel great shows all the time and it makes me angry.
Yeah, and if they don't, they just have them fight a giant spider at the end anyway. So I guess
that is one way to go.
So, what else you got, Sarah?
Okay, so a movie that I would like to bring to the table. I did include this in my honorable mentions for our top 10 episode that we recently released, but I want to talk about it again. And it is kind of the exact opposite of A Man on the Inside, and it is Hedda. It is currently streaming on Amazon Prime. This is a movie that is not for everybody. If you are familiar with the original play, you might be upset at some of the changes that happen with this movie. But I, in the first like minutes, was just like swept up in this world. The way that I describe this film is I was intoxicated by it. Like I wanted to know more. Wanted to be in this world. Everybody is a terrible person, and I had a great time just like watching everybody manipulate each other. The cinematography is fantastic. The set design, the costume design is great. Nina Haas gives a fantastic performance. I had a great time with it. It's not for everybody, but man, I was swept up in this, and I had a great time.
I have never heard Sarah describe a film as being intoxicated by it, so consider me very intrigued.
I'm hoping that this will get some Oscar nominations so then we can review it, because I also don't know how you will feel about this movie, Jen. So that could also be an interesting conversation of you just being like, Sarah, what is wrong with you?
How would you describe intoxicated? Like, did you just find that the second you started and then you knew you were into it, it was like what's that thing from Soul, the zone or whatever, your
the
flow
flow
state or whatever?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think
Sucked in.
there's just something kind of like alluring about the way that this is filmed. I was really focused on the cinematography while watching, and the way that the camera moves is just so interesting. And I felt like swept along with it. Like as the camera is moving, I was like, yeah, I'm here with this. I'm ready to go on this journey. It's such an atmospheric film. It's a very much a vibe film, and the vibes were good for me.
Watching terrible people manipulate each other. I love this.
It's
for
a
you.
great time. Like, oh my gosh. I wouldn't want to be that person, but wow, I had so much fun watching it.
Sounds like an art house reality show.
My brain immediately went to Succession, which I adored. So I'm like, if it's anything like that, I love watching terrible people be terrible to each other.
The last one that I would like to bring to the table is also very different, and it is a short film, Jane Austen's period drama. We actually had the privilege to talk to the directing duo of that short film, and that was such a fun conversation. But this film is so much fun. It's so funny and witty, and the way that it takes like the Jane Austen world and the Jane Austen language and is able to then use that to create this really funny juxtaposition as we're talking about menstruation and what it's like to have your period. I just found to be really engaging and witty. It's so funny, and yet there's so much like heart and depth at like the core of it. And so I loved that combination of things. And it's currently streaming on Canopy. So if you have a library card, you can go watch Jane Austen's period drama, which is just such a fun time.
I guess, Jen, then you watched this one too, since you guys did an episode.
Yeah. I'm impressed at at humor that's done so well and so like sharply. Humor's really hard to do these days, and they somehow nail it, and it's quite clever.
Jen, do you want to go next?
Sure. The first thing that I'm bringing to the table is a film, Sorry Baby. It's gotten a lot of exciting attention, which I'm so pleased about. It's Ava Victor's directorial debut, and she also stars in it. It's a Black comedy that covers some really difficult material, something that happens to the female protagonist in this film, but it's done also with so much tenderness at the same time. An incredible display of female friendship, and I'm just impressed at this this restrained way of telling what is an incredibly emotional story that actually makes it far more emotional to watch this character go on this healing journey that doesn't look the way that you would expect it to look. So Sorry Baby I was just so impressed at its ability to handle such delicate subject matter with so much tenderness. So Sorry Baby is my first pick. It's streaming on HBO Max, which is very exciting.
Sarah, did you see this one?
I didn't. I sat down to watch it, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago, and I was not in the right headspace to watch it. And so I got a few minutes in and I was like, oh, this is not the movie for today. So I need to watch it because
Fair warning.
I've heard such great things about it, but that day was not the day for Sorry Baby.
What do you got next, Jen?
My next thing that I'm bringing to the table is a film, Train Dreams. It's directed by Clint Bentley, who worked on Sing Sing, which both Sarah and I absolutely adored.
Huge favorite of yours, yeah.
Yes. This is available to stream on Netflix, which I think is fascinating because it is incredibly slow and poetic, and it's a film that I can see people getting bored by and picking up their phones as they do when they watch Netflix. But please don't do that with Strange Dreams. It's a film that I would say is to be breathed in and breathed out is the best way that I could describe it. It's slow and contemplative, got Kogonada atmosphere to it, but it's about a small, quiet life lived by a single man living through a lot of ecological and technology change and kind of being thrust into modern life while figuring out what is he doing here and him experiencing loss of all kinds. But there's a lot that's unspoken in this film that I think beg to be kind of dug deep and uncovered. So I don't know. I think Train Dreams met me at a period of time in my life that was really chaotic and frenetic, and it was like this calming respite for me to watch Train Dreams. So,
gosh, that's the best. Whenever a movie just just happenstance, it settles in just right.
Yes.
Talk about flow state. That is flow state. That's the good stuff.
The cinematography in Train Dreams is just exceptional. It's a really beautiful movie. So yeah, just watching it for that alone is worth it.
And then what's your last one, Jen?
My last thing that I'm going to bring to the table is a docu-series. I'm about halfway through it because I'm taking my sweet time savoring it. And it's Mr. Scorsese on Apple TV+. It goes through Scorsese's filmography from his early life to the kind of various phases of his career and his partnerships that have been abundant and artistic for him. There's a lot of really wonderful interviews with Scorsese himself talking about kind of his love for filmmaking, where it came from, his intentions behind creating certain pieces of work. And I love the way that it's edited, especially some of the interview sequences. It doesn't feel incredibly formal and as if both the documentarian and Scorsese himself are trying to be on. It's incredibly relaxed, and they include so many outtakes with him. And so he's a director that I absolutely adore and really love so much of what he's excited by and curious about in his work that he's exploring. And it was exciting to just see a little bit more behind the curtain of his psyche and his philosophy on a lot of filmmaking. So I'm excited to keep watching this. But so far, everything that I've seen has been pretty incredible. And yeah, Mr. Scorsese on Apple TV+.
What's something new you learned from it that you're whoa?
Yeah, one of the things that I found really fun to discover is that I'd always known that in his early life, because of his asthma, he was constantly indoors and observing the world around him, which is a huge part of what shaped his kind of emotional clarity as a filmmaker, is watching humans be humans and then figuring out how to write that into his movies. But I realized that he's kind of obsessed with overhead shots, which are throughout his films, but it's because his apartment building when he was younger, his window looked out on the streets. And so the opening shot of Goodfellas and so many of his other films that include these tracking shots that always go upwards is kind of because that was his POV for so much of his life, being stuck inside, having to watch the world beneath him go by and all the humans in it that are colliding with each other. So that obsession with overhead shots is something that I thought was really fascinating, that came from his childhood woes of being stuck inside.
Any questions, Sarah?
No, I'm just happy that you're watching this, Jen. As Scorsese's #1 fan, this is absolutely up your alley. So I haven't watched this yet. I am excited to watch this, but I am not Scorsese's #1 fan. So I'm glad that you are.
You might be after this, but
honestly, though, he's incredible. So I am excited to watch it. I just haven't gotten to it yet.
Jen, when are you going to get hair plugs for his eyebrows?
Right.
If you're his #1 fan, everyone's got to know.
Oh, those things can express 1,000 words.
Oh my word, they're huge. Whether you're listening on the Cinematic Doctrine or Movies and Us feed, reviews and ratings are the lifeblood of podcasting, so be sure to rate and review our shows on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you're listening. So press pause and share your thoughts. We'd love to hear what you have to say. Then press play again. so you can hear the rest of the show. Yeah, what about me? So I was able to see a couple movies these last few months. The first one I saw October 1st, so the second our quarter four started. It's called It Doesn't Get Any Better Than This. It's a found footage in-world horror film that is only going to be screened in theaters. The directors of this independent flick have pretty much like said, like, we're not going digital, we're not doing home video, we're going to partner with theaters every now and then to screen it. And so if you want to see it, you got to go see it in an art house theater, in a local theater, whatever. And that alone is interesting marketing to me. Like, oh, okay, like I like the theater experience, and there's something like that's just how movies are screened since movies started. So like the relationship between that, the creator, the distributor, and then the audience member, to me, like I like it. That said, this movie's not that good. It's really in the marketing that makes it interesting. The premise is just that a couple moves into a house with intent to clean it up as a fixer-upper and use it for a horror movie because they like to shoot their own films. And then like creepy things happen. They do a seance, this and that, whatever. It's kind of about art. It's kind of about how people engage stuff. So like on a meta level, the marketing's clever, but man does not live on FOMO alone. Like it's so there's a character in it that is one of the most irritating characters I've ever had to endure. Oh man, it's brutal. And then there are just things that kind of take place that just leave you head scratching. Kat and I had a nice time. We really liked the place we went to. We went to Philomoka, Philadelphia Mausoleum of Contemporary Art. It's in kind of really close to Center City in Philly. And it's a really nice venue. You basically sit down on pull-out folding chairs and you're just on the floor watching this movie in a very intimate environment. And in that regards, I enjoyed that. And the film opens up with I'm suspecting a consistently personalized introduction where the director talks to you. He specifically says, like, I'm excited to be screening the movie again in Philly, in Philomoka. So like, I'm suspecting, and it's like part of the movie. So I'm suspecting whenever he sends it out to certain distributors, he does that. But it wasn't good. So if that whole experience interests you, that I think is worth doing. But the movie, just expect that like it's mid to bad, and I landed on the bad side. Have you guys heard of this or seen anything kind of like this or experienced anything like that?
I have not, but I'm curious the movie going experience for you, like getting to watch it with other people in this like very uniquely curated environment. What was that like? Like the reaction, the kind of being in an audience for a film like this.
Yeah, I mean, well, first off, other people were totally engaged. Like some of the people in the area, I heard gasps, I heard people freaked out, jump, whatever, like stuff like that. So they were totally into it. So there is like the statistical chance that you will enjoy it. And I think there's truth to the fact that when you are doing some kind of effort to go to see something, that helps contribute to your enjoyment. Like what is it called? Sink cost fallacy, or whatever it is. So like I think that's half of why people like Stranger Things finale, and like which I enjoyed and seeing in theaters, but it's not good. But anyways, it's for another episode in the future. But the experience alone was enjoyable.
Honestly, the like going out to see a movie experience is so fun. Like with
It really
people,
is.
especially that don't typically watch movies. I got to see Hamnet recently with two friends that don't usually watch movies, and I'm like, I'm so sorry, guys. Please come back to watch movies with me again. But that experience of going and being excited and people asking like, what's this movie about and whatnot, like that, the tee up for it is thrilling. Yeah. And being out to see it with other humans.
And it's such a multiplex thing, but ever since I was a kid, it always feels like I'm walking into a spaceship because like the way the lights and everything are set up. So like I still have that like wonder and magic of the experience, but this movie's entirely in the experience because it's not the movie. If it went to streaming, it would not have any engagement or intrigue. So honestly, good marketing on their part. They should keep it up. So the next one I have is a movie called Occult. This is from director Koji Shiraishi, super prolific. He's constantly producing new material across the horror genre. This one, Occult is kind of considered like a somewhat spiritual successor to his most popular movie, at least here in the West, which is called Noroi the Curse. Are you familiar with Noroi the Curse?
I'm not.
Nope.
Yeah, so Noroi, just in brief, like Noroi is this film about a tape that goes missing, and no, there's a guy who produces a paranormal investigation show, and he has one more episode that is intended to come out. He's already investigated it, he's edited it, he's put it together, and then he goes missing, and the tape is never found until the movie, and then you're watching the tape of that investigation, and because it's a fully produced episode that went missing, the film gets to have editing in ways that like develop like a mystery instead of found footage, which is typically just linear. And also there can be music and stuff. So it's like it's very cleverly constructed in that way. A Cult, though, it came out like 8 years later, maybe seven. It's not in the same environment, but it's very similar in some of its ways. It's very cosmic horror, very true crime, a lot of mystery, but also more intimate as it follows one person. I kind of just, instead of rehashing my thoughts, just grabbed a couple of my paragraphs from Letterbox. Are you guys comfortable if I just read this real fast?
Yeah, go for it.
To pick up where the important paragraphs I grabbed. A cult like Noroi the Curse uses in-world filming style to explore a mystery more so than unveil recurrent scares. Koji Shiraishi's understanding of how to pace archaeological horror tales is impeccable, and I think he might be one of the only modern creatives I've watched who expertly tackles what makes psychological horror so disturbing. Some people become so convinced that evil things are good and good things are evil, and Shiraishi carries us through this experience one scene at a time. Noroi the Curse, I think, is a lot more clear with its motive, setting up a fairly understandable mystery that still leaves room for interpretation and terror. But A Cult not only follows the one who's fundamentally lost it, it continues to throw ideas and themes and little curiosities your way. It's not as holistic as Noroi the Curse, a film that takes footage from a collection of places to tell its tale. It's more akin to a character study following a sad figure that becomes more dimensional as the film goes on. I don't think I would say A Cult is scary, but it plays with concepts of dread and agency. Its opening scene explains a horrific murder, quote unquote, suicide that takes place at a bridge, and then this location where everyone involved in the event had different reasons to be there at that exact time. And they all kind of have some implication of they were drawn to it from something outside themselves. Then the perpetrator just vanished. He just jumped off a cliff and no one found the body. Similar, though, to Noroi the Curse, a cult also has this relationship with how the poor or the destitute or social pariahs have like this further, they just sometimes have a further devotion to spirituality. Koji Shiraishi doesn't give me the impression he's taking advantage of the poor or the destitute to create a story that exploits them and their faith beliefs. But it does kind of remind me of something that all of his stuff just reminds me of something I remember hearing. I don't remember who this is from. It's a quote that I'm paraphrasing, but it was something along the lines of the theologian is stable enough to ponder how God could permit hell to even exist, but the poor is stable knowing that there will be justice in the afterlife because of the injustice they've experienced. Natural disaster, that was kind of the end of that. Natural disasters and random acts of God do occur, and that is something for someone to explore and rationalize, but all acts of evil have ultimately been perpetrated by other men or women, and as such there is reason to desire justice, let alone feed this innate desire for justice that we all kind of have. And so there's a hope in the at least the afterlife wherein the unjust will suffer for the actions that they've committed. And I feel like sometimes when you are on the lower class, you have that you have more hope in that because of so much injustice at your expense. I don't really think Noroi the Curse does much with the poor, so to speak, as it does have awareness of it. There's a lot of stuff about cultural differences between those who are stable and unstable. But I do think that both films, especially A Cult, are pointedly aware of how one has this desire to rationalize one's life, even down to their suffering. It stresses the need to hope for something better, this desire to achieve confirmation of one's life having value or purpose or meaning. And then, as meaning is inferred, so too is nihilism at play, because you're balancing between joyous faith or potential despair. Yeah, I mean, clearly A Cult made me think of a lot of things. What's frustrating is this movie, that's the end of all the stuff I read on Letterbox. This movie's frustrating though because it doesn't, I don't think, have an official release in the States. I This is all I'll say. I found a DVD copy on eBay and I bought it so I could watch this movie. I wanted to watch it for years and I just was like, fine, I'm buying it. Who knows if that's an official distribution or not? It was sold on eBay and I bought it. So that's what I did. So, yeah, but I don't know. I thought this was just like such a good such a freaking good movie. It's so good.
So that eBay purchase was worth it.
Oh my gosh, it was so good. It was like the quality of the DVD was so bad. It was like 360p. It was so terrible. So we'll see. But if it does ever get a licensed full release, not implying that this wasn't, just if it does, and it's a higher quality one, I'm copping that immediately because, man, this movie was cool. Any thoughts, Jen, Sarah?
It was fascinating to hear kind of the thought trains that it ignited for you, which I think is really interesting. Having not watched the film itself, like that, the musings and the underpinnings that it sounds like he's woven into the film around the nature of like understanding this world and the different classes of society and how that influences their understanding for justice, and ultimately that we all desire justice, whether it's in this life or in another life, is kind of universal. Is fascinating. So I'm mostly just like now curious what has inspired those thought trains to run. Now that I know, gonna watch me on eBay.
Yeah,
Scouring.
I'm so interested in when filmmakers are able to take like an established like subgenre and then like innovate within that. So when you were talking about taking this like found footage type of story, but then innovating that so that you're able to utilize the other filmmaking components to make it a more engaging story. Like stuff like that just fascinates me, how you can take this kind of like established way of doing a film and then introduce some new elements to make it a more engaging story, perhaps.
Yeah, he really is impressive. When he stinks, he's bad. But like when he's really good, it's like he's so patient and trustworthy of the audience. So it's good. Then the last one, I'll keep this real brief, but I finally saw Good Boy. This is that horror movie about a ghost haunting someone, except the whole movie is told from the perspective of the dog. Indy, our main character, is owned by a man who's avoiding rehab. He's overdosed a few times, but he's finally going to go to this old family cabin to get clean. At least that's what he tells his, as he perceives, overbearing sister. Indy, however, kind of notices things about this cabin pretty much immediately, and so begins the little ghost story haunting. It's not as good as I was hoping it to be, but it is good. In fact, it's more a promise of creativity for future projects that I'm hoping to see from this director. It's often pretty gorgeous. It's not as visually abstract as something like Skinamarink, but it does have a similar disinterest in human subjects in that it just follows the dog and we never see people's faces really, and you just kind of carry on from there. And it's a real dog, it's not digital, so like it's just got more charisma to it. It has a lot to say, I think, about man's relationship with nature, specifically from the direction of the dog to man, or as I should say, like how humans suspect nature perceives man, if that makes sense. It's just a different direction. It's not a film about people caring for nature. I didn't like the ending, neither did Catherine. She was kind of about it, but it has its moments and it's short, so it's absolutely 100% worth watching. It's on Shudder, I think, right now. It's they licensed it for distribution, so yeah, Good Boy's pretty dope. Did you guys see this one?
No, it's one that I was kind of interested in though, just because I've heard about it from other friends who are horror movie people, and just the idea of the film kind of being from the dog's perspective, I think is really interesting, and just I haven't seen something like that before. So it is on my to watch list. I just I haven't gotten to it because I'm a fraidy cat when it comes to horror movies. So, got to kind of work myself up into watching a horror movie sometimes.
Oh, that's kind of cute. Jen, what about you?
No, I haven't seen this yet. If Sarah's a fraidy cat, I don't know what I am. Like a fraidy, like woolly mammoth.
Enjoying this episode? Grab that share link and tell your friends. Word of mouth is the most effective way for a podcast to reach new listeners, so don't be shy. Share the episode wherever you can.
So we usually try to end our quarterly catch-ups with a section just chatting about like what have we been up to, because we're not robots. We actually have lives. We're not AI. We have actual purpose and agency over our lives and the things we do. So sometimes that doesn't include movies. We like to talk about what else we're up to. But also, listener, this is going to be, as of right now, it'll be the last of the quarterly catch-ups that we're going to be doing. We figured at the very least getting one full year done was a good start to see if we liked doing this together, if we had time. And it's just turning out time-wise that it doesn't seem like something we can completely do for the future. All that to say is this will be the last one. And so I think it'd be interesting to talk about what have we been up to the last 3 months, and also how do we feel about like how we did this year with this little thing. Was it a fun sideways thing, whatever, side quest thing? Yeah, let's start with I guess we kicked it off with Sarah last time. Jen, what you been up to and how you been feeling about the show?
Yeah, I'll kick us off. So, last 3 months, I think I mentioned earlier in train when I was talking about train dreams that life's been a little cray.
Mm,
So I moved cities this past quarter, which was kind of big. I'd been living in Seattle for 6, 7 years, and so we
six,
have
seven.
repotted and replanted in a new place. So moved to California. So
Wow.
kind of just a lot of logistics, planning, life craziness to settle in a new place again, and kind of put down new roots in a new place. So that's been new. I'm excited with this new LA chapter in my life to get to just explore so many like smaller independent theaters around LA. There's just so much
It's
happening
the place to be.
in this medium, in this industry that we get excited about. So just like excited to see more of this giant sprawling city with lots of really terrible traffic. I'm gonna have so much time in the car now to listen to so many things in podcasts. So
Yeah.
gonna be well acquainted with things to keep me company while driving. I think I mentioned earlier this year, but probably in our Q1 catch up, that I bought an espresso machine and was just playing with latte art, and
Cool.
I've picked that back up again the last couple of weeks, steaming milk every day, just like trying to like crack the code that is the perfect temperature pacing
Mm,
of creating small bubbles in milk so that we can make beautiful things in lattes with. So that's been really fun. It's kind of meditative for me, and it feels like a puzzle. Like every day I'm like, gosh, we can try again today. We're going to steam it a little less long and spin it a little longer, and maybe too much air last time. So that's just been like a fun rhythm the past few weeks. And then recently got to go to a jazz club in New York
mm.
City. And I've always loved jazz, but seeing like a big band jazz set in New York, like all of the atoms in my body were just like,
Flow state,
oh
flow
my
state.
God, I need more of this. So been watching some jazz documentaries and kind of going through different artists and listening to a bunch of their work to try and get an understanding of like all of the evolution of this medium. So I have so much to learn. I know nothing about this art form, but I'm thrilled by it and it's exciting to me. So yeah, been diving into the world of jazz a little bit more.
Oh man, that's cool. What about you, Sarah? What's up?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing in Q4 is I decided to go back to school and
Good for
get my
you.
master's. And so
Woohoo!
that is just kind of a wild thing that I have now started. And so I think especially in Q4, it was a time of like letting go of things so that I could make room for
Mm.
this new school journey. And so it was just interesting reflecting on some of the like freelance things that I needed to let go of that had like
Mm.
sustained me over the last 5 years. And just kind of feeling like end of a chapter closing, and like kind of like starting a new thing in 2026. So that was wild. Another kind of big podcast related thing that Jen and I have done is we have joined the Movie
Yes.
Archer podcast network. And so that has been kind of a wild ride too. And so we're just like really excited to see what 2026 holds. And then just the other shout out that I want to give is just to you, Melvin. Like, thank you for
Mhm.
setting up these quarterly catch ups. They have been so good, so much fun to just kind of like reflect on a quarter at a time. And so if you are listening on the Movies and Us feed, make sure you go subscribe to Cinematic
Yeah.
Doctrine, because Melvin always has
Come say hi.
Yes.
good, insightful content coming out. But yeah, just so grateful for what we've done in this year. These have been so fun. And yeah, so thank you for setting this up, organizing this, kind of spearheading this. It's been a great time.
Yeah, thanks, Sarah, and thanks to you guys for I am aware of my social media presence. And so knowing that this year we partnered to do this, I'm thankful for you guys continuing to do this show with me post, let's say, September. So because I don't know, I feel emboldened. Something about this last year just really hit me. So thanks for that. And then also, yeah, thanks for sticking around for the show too. I feel like this has been, it's just, sometimes you just don't have time to talk about all the stuff you want to. And I feel like these have been so
Right.
helpful for that.
Mhm.
So it's been really, really cool. As for me, what have I been up to? Well, as people know, I'm a store manager at a popular, very huge retailer. So holiday is just insane. But it was great. Like, it was a really, really, really good learning experience. I'm not going to just use corporate speak language, LinkedIn jargon to talk about it, but it really, really was like a really good, edifying time. And I also learned a lot more about so think of it this way, when you work out or exercise, and then there's going to be this moment out in normal life where you realize, oh, that thing I just did with my body was super easy. And it just clicks
Mhm.
that there were things that you got better at that you kind of didn't realize until that's how this felt, where there are improvements that were made throughout the last 2.5 2 years of me being a store manager, that this holiday they hit and clicked. And so I'm thankful for that. I know myself. I know who I am and the life I've lived. And so I'm so thankful for God's grace and patience in leading me to a life where I'm not just alive, but able to lead. And I think that
Mhm.
that has been really just, man, I haven't been able to rest the last quarter. You guys asked me this before we started recording, but I can
Yeah.
tell you, like, I feel at rest with a lot of things because of how things have
Love
been.
it. Love it. I love your line. I did not get rest, but I am at rest now with a lot of things. And amen to that. That is amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Melvin, for organizing so much of this, doing so much of the heavy lifting. Sarah and I have had the privilege of getting to show up and yap with you every couple of months and just check in on live things and all that stuff. So it's been awesome. We appreciate you.
Well, hey guys, if you're a fan of Cinematic Doctrine, you're listening there, y'all got to go check out Movies and Dust. They cover a way more prestigious stuff in terms of what's modern releases. And so if you're someone who likes to keep up with, let's say, 2026 movies that are coming out, a lot of directors coming out with movies this year. Spielberg's back. And then if you're from Movies and Dust, I'd love to have you guys come on over to Syndoc. We have some pretty cool episodes, different formats, all that jazz. Any final things you'd like to say with the sign off, Jen, Sarah?
No, I think the biggest thing I want to say is just thank you. Yeah, it's been awesome, and we did a full year of this cool new concept, and the concepts and the premise and the format has been so amazing. So yeah, definitely go check out Melvin's show. I have to say, our conversation about Joker, the one with Lady Gaga in it,
fully
that very fascinating and so layered. So if I think it's a great representation of the kind of thoughtfulness and insight you bring to film and what it all means and what it says and what that says about us as humans. So in particular, I think back fondly on that conversation too.
Any sign off, Sarah?
Yeah, just everybody, thanks for listening. I hope that we have a lot more great movie conversations in 2026, because like Melvin said, there's a lot of big movies coming out.
Crazy.
So there's going to be much to discuss in this year. And so I'm so grateful for, obviously you, Melvin, but this larger film community that we are part of, and we can have such great conversations about this medium.